Most people think that franchising means food or retail or some trendy concept that feels exciting on the surface. But the real winners, the people quietly building serious long-term wealth, are usually in the trades. Plumbing, HVAC, electrical, drywall. And once you understand why, it's hard to unsee it. So let's get into it right now. Hi, I'm Peter Karunas, husband, father of 4, and Chief Growth Officer of a home service franchise system. This channel is about real conversations on franchising, the trades, and building a business that actually lasts. And in each episode, I break down the lessons, the mistakes, and opportunities that I see every day inside of the home services industry so that you can make more informed decisions along the way. Thank you so much for being here, and let's jump right on into it. So if you're exploring franchising, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is choosing a business based on what sounds exciting instead of what actually works. And the trades don't sound exciting to most people, okay? But from a business standpoint, they're incredibly powerful. And then here are like my 4 points as to why. So let's just jump right on into it and talk about point number 1. The point number 1 here is the non-discretionary demand. There is discretionary demand and then non-discretionary demand. And usually when you're in the trades, these are customers that don't want these services, but they need them, okay? Being in a needs-based business versus a wants-based business, it's very critical that you understand the consumer buying behavior for a wants business and a needs business. When you don't have hot water, you're going to pay anything that you can to get hot water back. And that's putting the company at a very high advantage. Not to price gouge, but it's just a competitive advantage to the trades business over, say, something like pest control or pesticides or some other home service franchises or home service businesses that are out there. When people need something, usually budgets do come into play, but there is a more urgent matter to buying it now, to getting it repaired, getting it fixed. And that means that you're in a non-discretionary demand business, as opposed to a discretionary demand business where, you know, it's like maybe you could fit it in your budget now, but you might want to wait a couple of weeks or a couple of months. That's very keen to search on when you're looking for a business to get into, is to really focus in on the demand aspect of a wants versus needs business. Point number 2, let's look at the unit economics of the trades and home services. So first of all, when you're in the trades, you're likely to find higher average tickets, fewer employees than, let's say, a food franchise would have or a food company would have. But one of the things that you're going to see that's really competitive in the trades or in a home service business is the build out, the initial cost of getting the business going. You know, you often compare franchising to, I got to build a building, I got to decorate it on the exterior of the building, on the interior of the building. You know, this is quite cumbersome. You got to secure the building. There's a whole build out permitting aspect of the investment. In the trades, you really don't have that. In the home services, you really don't have that. You can rent an office, you can rent a storage facility, you can find maybe all of that under one roof. And that actually is where the math works for you. If you're able to look at the differences between starting up a home service company versus, say, starting up a brick and mortar business like a car wash or an oil change business, the investment on a home service business can be very low. But then when it comes to the day-to-day operations, the math works really well, and we'll get into this a little bit. The math works really well when you price and staff correctly. And we'll talk more about that on future episodes, but pricing and staffing correctly is what's going to make the unit economics here work really well for you. Point number 3, and we'll talk a little bit more about wants and needs, but point number 3 is the recession resistance to the business as well. You see, trade businesses stay busy when your discretionary demand businesses slow down. Consistent demand attracts lenders, attracts buyers, right? So this is very important to being consistent throughout the year. You have companies like pool home services, and that's only good in the summertime or early or mid-spring to summertime. You have power washing. That's another one that's really seasonal to a trades business or a home service business. There's not a lot that you can do when your house is covered with 3 feet of snow on the ground. But in the trades business, as like plumbing, electrical, HVAC, these are really competitive areas that are going to test the tale of time here. Seasonality isn't a thing. And when you leverage that on top of being a wants versus needs company, not only do you have the needs-based aspect of it, but you also have the seasonality to it. Man, that's really something to look at. And point number 4 here, and one that a lot of people in the world are talking about, there's a lot of buzz about it. There's a lot of conversations on Twitter, TikTok, other influencers that are talking about franchising, and that's scalability. Point number 4 is scalability. This is a real thing, okay? When you look at a trades business or home, again, I keep saying trades and home services together, but I mean the same thing. Usually the units to scale is another vehicle with another operating technician in that vehicle, another truck on the road to generate your revenue. If you start with a home service brand that has one truck on the road, it's how quickly can you get to 2 and 3 and 4 after that? That is your truck by truck growth plan. What is your end of the year going to look like? Well, if your revenue with one truck is say $300,000, $400,000, and I want to get to over $1 million, it's going to be really hard to do that with one service vehicle on the road. So getting a plan in place for a 2 and 3 truck operation to get over that $1 million hump. And we'll talk about some more reasons on how to do that later on in future episodes. But the idea here is that if you're getting into a home service business in the trades, okay, a truck by truck growth plan is very important for your ability to scale your business, to grow your business. You don't need to open up another location. It's really growing by the units. And in our business, units are vehicles. Units are revenue generating trucks, and a technician that goes into a home, that sells something to a homeowner, that comes back and produces revenue for the business. But there's also territory expansion. So as are you growing in a particular area, a particular township, a particular county, and you want to grow into another area? That's a really easy way to do that without buying a building, looking for another location. It's really just putting another truck on the road and servicing these groupings of zip codes. It's also easier from a scalability perspective, easier to systemize, okay? It's one system and you're adding people into it. You're not needing to replicate your systems across one location to another. Think about this like another technician you hire just gets tied into your existing hub of your operations. And that is a great thing from a scalability perspective to consider, because that's not an expensive approach. There's not a lot of investment to doing that. Sure, there's a little bit of an investment in time and maybe some monetary investment there, but from a perspective of how to grow, it's easier to systemize your business if you grow it with systems in plugging in trucks in certain areas or people in certain areas to grow your company. Now let's get into the closing remarks here, and this is why this channel was created. Why does franchising help here? How does franchising help here? The goal of franchising is to shorten that learning curve, okay? Number 1 of the franchise responsibility is like you can do it on your own if you have everything and the time and the patience to invest in all the infrastructure. You can do it on your own, but that learning curve that you're going to have, that's something I'm going to rest my head easy on, is that there have been others that have done it, and there's a group of people inside the franchise that are doing it at the same time as you. So you can learn from each other, you can learn from the system. And again, it's designed to shorten that learning curve, which is immediately going to reduce the risk and the financial risk that you have of making these mistakes on your own in the future. And reducing those costly mistakes is, again, I guess you can kind of consider that a point number 2 to why franchising helps. You're going to go out on your own, and if you're choosing to go that path, that's fine. Franchising is not for everybody. If you want to look at this through the lens of starting something new, if you were to start your own pet care franchise, you got to know what tools to buy. You got to know what the location demand is. You got to look at the foot traffic analytics of the location. You're going to need to invest in equipment and a POS system and digital marketing. And how do you capture your customers? How do you nurture your customers? What type of promotions should you be running that aren't going to kill your bottom line? The hiring, the firing, the training, the onboarding, all of that. You're going to make mistakes over years in every one of those areas. That's going to cost you money. And trust me, I've been there, I've done it. Okay. Support systems matter more than people realize. Having a group of your peers going through this, so peer-to-peer support is very important. in when you're choosing a franchise. You want to have your own mentor. You want to have your own coach. Okay, this is very important. What's the frequency of that get together? Is that weekly? Is that monthly? Is that quarterly? If you're meeting more often, you're again reducing that learning curve as often as you can, as much as you can. But systems by itself are very important. So when you join a franchise system, their infrastructure that they provide to you is tested, it's proven. There's a lot of strength in numbers that reduce those costs per operator for you. And that's just a tremendous value when you're looking at the franchising ed for a lot of people. But again, franchising is not for everybody. That's what this channel is for, to help you navigate through whether you're thinking through this clearly or not. That is exactly what this channel is for. And now I want to give you like a little bit of a personal story here. So I have actually built franchises and home service brands that were independent together over my career. And having done both, understanding that both have some advantages, okay? There isn't a franchise fee when you're starting something yourself, so there's like a little bit of financial savings there. There's no territory boundaries when you're starting something your own. But having gone through it enough times and been in the business now for many years, I would choose, first of all, I would choose the trades every single time. Every single time. As long as I'm still on the success path that I'm on, I will continue to choose the trades, home services businesses. After being in a B2B business for the first act of my career and seeing what the B2C side is in a needs-based business, I don't know what I was ever doing in the B2B business to begin with. Starting a B2C business versus B2C franchise, it can feel like drinking from a fire hose in either way. So if both feel the same way, if you're laser focused on success and building something, why not take the cheat code? Why not take the cheat code in the franchising space? That is something that I've rested on now. I'm kind of a big, huge advocate of the franchising space. I do see both sides equally, but knowing that I've done both and what it took and how much money was wasted and not having people to go to and ask questions about. Yes, you can join a peer group. Yes, you could. There's a Facebook group, but they're different because they're not your business. If every pet grooming salon franchise or every home service franchisee that you were speaking with were doing the same things, living the same thing every day, wearing the flag the same way, it would be an amazing advantage. This is kind of like your cheat code to your growth plan, to you being able to grow organically. When I started my own business that was not a franchise, I understood that the biggest mistake that I've made, something that I kind of got wrong at first, was focusing too much on the revenue number. I need to grow my revenue. I need to grow my revenue, whatever it is. That is a tremendously wrong approach. Growing your revenue is important, but growing it strategically is equally important. I actually care more about the profit margins than I do the gross number, more than anything else. Like percentages more than the dollar amount matter more to me now. And that's something that I've come to realize over time. Being in the business of home services, it's like whether you're doing it yourself or whether you join a franchise, your success is not measured by your growth revenue. Your success is measured by your net profits and how much you can pay yourself back for the time that you've invested. So focusing more on that number than like, oh, I got to get to my first million, I got to get to my first 2 million. Maybe just be a little bit more laser focused on your margins and make sure that they are in line for growth opportunities, because you could get to 2 million quite easily. You got to invest in it. You got to be laser focused. You got to have the proper mindset to get there, but it's not difficult to get there. And that's one of the other best advantages here to joining a home service business. So as a close here, and I want to say thank you for watching. This is our first episode. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this episode. This is a channel. This is a YouTube channel about clarity. Okay, it's not about any hype. It's not about any particular brand. I won't be really focusing in on any particular brand here, even though that I represent 2 different franchises here. Franchising in general, if you decide to buy a fencing franchise or food franchise, like that's great and all, but I want to give you that transparency. I want to give you that visibility. And we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, the ugly side of all of it in this channel. So I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for our episode number 2, where we're going to get a little bit more clearer into some of the mistakes that were made during my time in the trades and home services business. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me on the Franchise Builder. If you got any value from this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any future episodes that I'm going to drop. Because I release new, brief videos regularly covering franchising, the trades, and what it really takes to build a business that lasts in this industry. Thank you for watching the Franchise Builder, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Coming up this season on The Franchise Builder.
One bad hire can drain your energy, poison your culture, slow the entire business down. That's a leadership lesson that took me a long time to learn.
Like, what drives revenue for your franchise, for your business?
Because building a business is like having a child, and getting this wrong can cost you time, money, and stress.